Morning, everybody. Natalie coming to last. Spirit and coffee. Got my coffee here. Yum, yum, yum. Ha, ha, ha. So it has already been an eventful day. I've been up since 4:30. And I'm trying to find some normal in this not normal situation, which is like how do you have a life that feels structured and sort of like this kind of normal in a situation where, especially, well, here in New Mexico, we're in lockdown again. And so it's kind of like, it's challenging in terms of working from home. And I do this anyway. I work from home regardless. But it just seems different for some reason. And probably because the gyms aren't open. And so I'm trying to like restructure my life, figure it out, and try to understand, like, how do I maneuver through this? And so it's been an eventful morning, but I've structured my life that I wake up super early so that I can fit everything in. And that's part of it, right? That's part of life. It's like if we want something, we've got to put in the effort. And sometimes it's not really what we want to do, but then we just have to do it anyway. And we just kind of bite the bullet and just say, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it anyway. And so I've been up since very, 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 very early. And so it's all good. I'm figuring out the schedule that works for me. And that's sort of what I've talked about in the past. It's like pivoting, turning, things constantly change. Sometimes we get into this mode where things are working for us and we're like, yes, everything's perfect. It's like everything just seems to be synergized. And good morning. It's not coming through jumble. Oh, it's coming through jumbled. Oh, I think it's the internet. I need to call them and tell them what's going on. So hopefully audio is not right. Let me take a look at something real quick. The audio seems to be, the inputs seem to be right. So I'm not sure if it is the stream. Perhaps it's the stream. I think it has to be the internet is what I'm guessing. So is it coming better now, or is it still happening? Let me know. I'll see if I can fix it. I'll fix it live. Is it better? Okay. Let's see. Sometimes, it could be the bandwidth or, something like that. Audio bit rate. I'm at the lowest bit rate. I don't know if that's it. It's better? Okay. I think the thumbs up means it's better. Perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so as I was talking about, things change, like sometimes a little better. Things shift, things change. And so the shift or the change that we see, sometimes it's we have this structure, right? And everything seems to work out. And we're everything is synergized, everything is good. And I say, stay with that. And I tell people, do that if it's working for you. Continue to do that. And we think that it's going to work forever, but the reality is it doesn't work forever all the time. That's not life, right? Things, circumstances, conditions, we pivot, things change, different stuff shows up, all this stuff starts to transition and change. And when things, hey Quadi, what's up? It's good to see you on here. And when things change and pivot, we're looking at our life and we're saying, well, how do we restructure that? How do we kind of recreate into something new? And just because the old structure was working at one point, sometimes we got to let it go. Sometimes we got to say, okay, it's not working anymore. And I think that it's still not working. Okay. Patricia. Hey, Patricia. My stream, I guess, is not working so well. So I'm trying to figure out if I can figure out the settings. I know in my podcast it is, but I do apologize. It's the internet. These dang internets. Oh, I don't know what I just did. I'm going to cancel that. Hopefully it'll start working. Hopefully you guys will start to hear better. If not, I do completely apologize for what's going on. But as we restructure our life, and we're in weird circumstances right now, right? Everything seems kind of wonky, especially, well, where I live. I'm not 100% how people are experiencing things around the world, but they've closed down a lot. So we have to restructure, reshape. I've set new goals for my fitness. So waking up at 4:30 in the morning, I literally said, okay, how do I organize my life? And I sort of talked about this the other day, yesterday on my personal page about how, I looked at my life and I said, okay, what do I have available to me? And how can I structure it that's going to serve me and support me in this new dynamic, in this new structure that I'm looking at? And then I said, oh, okay. My niece who's out of work lives with us. I said, well, I'll just hire her and she could be my assistant. If I have a little bit of money to help her out, then I can do that and I could work from home. But also it's saying, hey, you have some responsibility too, but I don't expect her just to take on those responsibilities without energy for energy, right? So I said, I'll pay you a little bit of money to help me out. And so, and my other niece, I told her I can give you a little bit of money to help me out in this other way. And I really need it because right now I'm feeling overwhelmed and I could use an assistant. So I said, I'll hire you. So come on and let's do this. And they said, okay, and it's just cash in their pocket, right? It's not too formal, but then giving them the opportunity, which frees up my mind because I'm going crazy with everything that I have to get done, right? Now, Spirit and Coffee, as you guys know, it's just something that I do, and I'm never going to stop doing it. I don't think it's ever going to stop. I think it's going to be as long as, who knows, until God says no. But I don't foresee that happening. So I'm going to continue on it. So what I'm saying is right now, the circumstances and conditions don't look like what we generally have in the past. That doesn't mean you stop your goals. It doesn't mean you stop doing what you need to do. It just means you can pivot and you can look and work with what you have now. I was thinking this morning, what about parents who have children in their home? I would say that if they're old enough, okay, to be hireable to do something. And I think old enough is like, little tasks or whatever, that you give them sort of tasks and you say, okay, I'll pay you to do a job. You do it at this time every day. So there'll be an alarm and you just go and you do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And, maybe it's helping you out a little bit, like as an assistant, right? And maybe they prep the food for the night, or maybe you teach them how to prep the food on the weekend. And then during the week, after they're done with their schoolwork or whatnot, they can be your little assistants, right? And teaching them these practices, which are life skills, their business skills, right? And have them be sort of like your employees in a way. And I don't like the word employees because I'm an entrepreneur, so I like opening businesses and having creative ideas and stuff like that. But for them, it teaches them work ethic, right? And responsibility in some way. So it's just reshaping the dynamic of your family in some way. And I thought, these people that are working from home, and I just have children, like I don't even have children and I'm going crazy. So it's like, how are they doing it? And I cook all my meals and all this stuff. So I'm not, and I think more people are starting to cook meals at home and stay home. So, I would say pivot, right? And that's part of it. So getting up early. So I hired my niece, and I'll tell you, it was really good because I was able to communicate with somebody like where I was having issues. And she was like, well, what if you fit this in here? What if you fit that in here? And I was like, oh my God, you're a genius. I couldn't think of it for myself. As much as I couldn't think of that for myself. And so the structure of my life is starting to form. And because of that, right, because I have the structure in my life, I'm not feeling so overwhelmed because I have this structure that I couldn't figure out for myself, and how to put it together. So now every morning we will have a briefing in the morning where we talk about what I'm supposed to be doing for the day. And then at the end of the day, we'll go over what I'm supposed to be doing for the next day. And then she'll be cooking my meals. So she can be my little chef, and she's a darn good cook. So it's giving, the task, thinking outside the box, thinking how you can reshape your life or remold your goals And the old structure was working for me before, but it ain't working anymore. And why? It's because I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed out. And life, it's okay to feel overwhelmed and stressed out, but you don't have to stay there. And so it's like pivoting and figuring out, how do I restructure this thing or remold it or reshape it into something different? So that is where I am at for that particular piece. And I didn't want to take the whole time to talk about that, but I just wanted to get that out there to individuals who may be struggling with trying to figure out how to reshape their life in what's going on in the circumstances and conditions that we're seeing in the world at this point. So talking about other things, I want to bring up a subject that I feel is important, and this is more consciousness stuff and more esoteric work stuff as well. But it's the fact that God will show up for you when your time is here. If you wait for the magic to occur, right? And I've said this before. I experienced another miracle, and the miracle was the ability to communicate to my family authentically, like completely authentically, without being made wrong for my experience. Okay. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they see me taking personal responsibility for and owning my experience. And I've done this over and over, and they see that I'm committed to certain things and that I continue to hold steadfast to those commitments. So they watch me. They've watched what I've done over time. But I felt completely supported. I know, Kwadi, you have talked about, having people really understand your point of view and your perspective, and maybe perhaps, maybe just feeling like you just need to just not talk about it because maybe people don't understand you. But what I would say is that it's okay, because sometimes it takes a while for that to sort of intertwine and people to get it, and the universe to sort of give you this gift back, right, where it's your time to rise and to be able to speak. And never in my life have I felt so supported by my family. I'm not saying my family doesn't support me, that's not the message, but I was able to fully communicate where and why I behave the certain ways that I do, and these certain patterns show up. And rather than them making me wrong, they all said, we're here to stand for you. We're here to support you. I want to support you through this. And for me, it was like I never felt so, I never just felt so supported by my family in that way. And it was a miracle, and I'm grateful. And those are the tiny things that I'm grateful for, because they're the tiny things we work for. It's funny. It's like we do all this work, we get this tiny little miracle, but that tiny miracle is worth it. It feels worth it. It feels like I did all this work. And even though it was this one thing, because it wasn't small, but it was, right. But it wasn't. It took a long time to get there. It's taken years of work to have that one miracle where your family stands and rises for you. And for you could be something different. But when you stay in your integrity and you stay in your intentions and you keep on doing it over and over and over and over again, the miracle then comes to you in these drips. And then when it's huge. And you're like, oh my God, you're amazing, God, right? Like, this is perfect. And thank you so much, right? Because the miracle of God is being expressed through the people that you love. And you're seeing it being expressed to you like a gift, right? We're always expressing God through us, of course, but it's like everybody comes together just to give you this gift. It's like God speaking through everybody just for you. And it's like, wow, I receive that. Holy Jesus, that's awesome, right? My family watched me, but not in that way. Awesome. Hello, Miss Jamercy. Jamercy. Sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. Oops. You do the phonetic, or what is it? The phonetical form of your name, so I can understand. I think that's right for phonetics. I could be wrong. I'm always wrong on stuff. I don't know. I'll be saying words and I don't even not meaning what I'm supposed to say, which is kind of funny. I did this beautiful picture for my emotional intelligence class, which it's been awesome too. Um, and I was sitting here yesterday just trying to get the right words for this picture. And I'm like, I'm not going to get a different grade based on what I named this picture, but I'm so weird that in my head I had to get it right. And so it became occulted startle, like hidden startle, right? Because the picture doesn't even really depict startle at all. It just is my mom and me, and it doesn't look startling at all. But we would say hidden startle because the story behind it was startling, right, for me. Anywho, okay, so continue. I go scroll, and then I'm going to come back to what I'm talking about. But again, the miracle that we have. So, stick with it is what I'm saying. I know that there are times that we want to sort of give up and let go and be like, I'm done. I just throw in the towel. It's just easier. I don't even want to deal with it. I can't. And I'm not saying that we can't take those pause times, but always come back or don't. I mean, it's totally up to you, but come back to it and work through it. And then if you need to let it go for a while, go ahead and then come back to it and work through it and then let it go if you need to, but always come back. If you come back to it over and over and over, you start to set this pattern and habit. You go for longer and longer and longer periods. And then before you know it, this big, huge miracle shows up for you. And you're like, whoa. But that's what I mean, for me, that's what I'm here to witness. I'm here to witness that. I'm here to witness God's miracle. And even if it takes a lifetime to get to the miracle and the experience, then it was all worth it, right? It's almost like the pinnacle. It's like you're hitting this pinnacle. It's like a hero's journey, right? Where you're like, oh, are they going to make it? What's going to happen? You're biting your nails. And that's why we like the hero's journey, because we live it all the time. And then all of a sudden, everything seems to work in the favor of the hero that has the intention, good, righteous intentions. And then it seems to work out. And then the hero seems to see this miracle show up. And it's like, whoa, it was all worth it. If I had to do it again, I do it again because it's all worth it. It all magically fits in the puzzle the way it's supposed to. And sometimes we don't see it. That's the hard part, is like we want to see it now, but that is not going to happen right now. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, right? Maybe there's a little bit, maybe you need to work on, or you need to understand a certain concept before. Maybe you need to go through this lesson before you can truly appreciate the entire miracle that's going to be given to you, the gift that's going to be given to you. And so it's just working at it a little at a time. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And man, you guys, I know you know this, but when you experience miracles, it's like, wow. It's almost like waking up in the morning and seeing that sunrise that you maybe happens once a year, but it's all worth it to like get up and look at the sunrise or the sunset, because you're like, wow, it's majestic. And it was worth waiting all year just to see that one thing. If we saw it every day, maybe we take it for granted, right? That's basically what I'm saying. If we saw, and I'm not saying we don't see miracles every day. Of course, there's miracles every day, but I'm talking about the big, huge things that we work towards, and all of a sudden everything seems to work in our favor. Okay. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And I don't know if Quad D, if you have had any breakthroughs with your family and it's been a while. I'm not sure how long it's been since you started discussing that you were going through this transformation, and your family, I don't know if you're making any headway. You can totally share. I would love to hear that. And Kwadi, if you ever want to get on and do a live video, or not video, but a live podcast with me on one of my off days, not Spirit and Coffee, but like another time, we can totally do that. They have nearly accepted me for who I am. I love that. See, they don't have to agree with you, right? As long as they just accept you. Sometimes acceptance is just, I'm like, you don't have to agree with me. You might think I'm crazy. And a lot of people do, and that's okay. Girl, you crazy. I ain't trying. I'm like, it's okay. I'm crazy. I get it. Like you don't have to. I'm not asking people to believe what I believe. I'm just trying to get people to understand that they themselves have the power to create their own beliefs within themselves and see the world the way they see it. But acceptance. Who am I? Who I am? Who am I? Who I am. Hey guys, hey Narish. Audio is so bad. I'm sorry for the Facebook people that the audio is bad and I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to call the internet people. I stream live on Facebook, and so you Podbean listeners get the great audio, and then we are having issues with the audio on the Facebook side. So, oops, sorry. I don't know. This internet thing is just acting up. I'm not even going to get into why I think that's happening, because y'all think, well, she's a conspiracy theorist, and I think they're trying to force us to 5G. I ain't going 5G. Internet's going wobbly everywhere. I think they're doing it on purpose, right? It's like, let's wobble up the internet so that everybody goes 5G, and then who knows what 5G does? I hear all kinds of stuff. Is it true? I don't know. Laughing with you. Oh yeah, you sound like my friend. He thinks he's laughing with me at everything I say, and I'm like, I ain't laughing. That wasn't funny. Just kidding. Okay, so hi Natalie Pena. Patricia. Oh yeah, Patricia, why so crackly? I think it's the internet. Yeah, it's acting up or something. So I'm glad that they're accepting you, Quad D. And I'm glad that you are, making headway. I do know this. I know that eventually, if you're a progressive thinker, it seems a little challenging at times, especially when we're talking about, like I've talked about paradigms and the shift in paradigms and consciousness and postmodernism, post-modernism, the integration, holism, and how everything's starting to integrate because of quantum physics and classic physics and everything coming together and all this stuff. And we progressive, okay, and I would say people with foresight or the ability to want to understand where we're headed, or the ones who research and look, we're always going to be bashed for our ideas, because people sometimes can only see the old models. They don't know how to maneuver through new models, and it's because they're not doing research on it, and they're just living in the models that have been suggested to them. So like theoretically, they'll say, hey, we're going to give you this model and structure for your company. And that's the model that they're existing in. They don't even realize that it's a construct, right? It's an actual model. And so when we theorize, everybody's like, well, this is fact. No, it's not fact. It's a theory. In fact, everything is theory. And if we say, oh, well, that theoretical model doesn't fit what I'm seeing in the world, but other people just kind of go with it, they may not be progressive enough to see how that can shift and work in the bigger scope. So, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are focused on the day to day. Some people are focused on the week to week, some month to month, some year to year, some the larger scope of years and years to come, and we can see patterns. And so in the progressive, we're going to see that we're going to get backlash, weirdos, everybody who has ever been progressive has been, Einstein, all of these people, Aristotle, when you start looking at all these people who were doing all this research and talking about life differently, they were in trouble. Like might have even got killed back then, because it was like the dark ages, and the church ran everything and all this stuff. But it's like, so we progressives will get backlash, and you just have to be like, it's okay. And then when years pass, people are like, oh, I accept this as truth now. Right. And there's a model for that. Like first people reject, and then they accept, and then they're like, oh, this is common knowledge. Right. I know, Nicole. I'm so sorry. I think I'm gonna I'll call the internet today. I'll call the internet providers today to let them know that the internet's not working well. I'll reset the router or something. Let me check this real quick. So I apologize, you guys. Like technology, we gotta love it, but sometimes check your mic. Oh, it's not the mic. It's the internet. The mic is a Yeti and I'm on Podbean and the audio is perfectly fine, right? So it's the stream that I go through, and it could be restream that I'm going through as well. So I do apologize for that. Um, I need to figure out, stupid internet. Just kidding. Um, but yeah. So again, the transition. OIC. What is OIC? OIC. I've checked the bandwidth and I've lowered it and it's still not. I think it's just streaming and the stream there's not enough bandwidth, I think is what's happening. So I've got to figure that out. So I apologize. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm a dork. Never mind, Nicole. I get it. Oof, took me a while to get that one. See, I lack some kind of common sense sometimes. That's hilarious. Okay. There it's a little better. Yeah, it's the internet. What are you gonna do? It just goes in and out. Dealing with the times. Yay. And so maybe I'll look at my bandwidth and see if I can get some more bandwidth since I'm going to be streaming like this all the time instead of just doing it on my Facebook live videos. Definitely don't want choppy video. So there you have it. So again, today it's really just sticking with it. Understanding that sometimes miracles and the gifts that the universe gives us, internet is stupid. I agree. Stupid internet. It's not stupid, but sometimes it is stupid. I like the internet when it works. Sorry, what did I say? Oh, yes. To think about that, right? Think about how maybe you might be selling yourself short and not continuing on the journey, and then really being present so that you know that you can receive this gift from the universe where everything sort of comes together in your favor. And it's nice because it happens. It can happen a lot, but when it happens in all directions and it's God speaking through people to you, right? It's like this feeling, you can hear it in their voice. Everybody's saying the same thing from different ways. And that's how you know, because it's like God is saying, I'm here, I'm supporting you. And everything in your life feels like that support is coming in. And all of these things are rising up and they're saying, hey, this is your gift. Okay, so it's quite amazing. And I'd say continue on your journey. I know that you guys, I'm sure, have experienced that in some form, in some fashion. But I just want to say that that's what happened. And the reason why, before I go, this one last thing, is that I accepted my dark emotions. I allowed myself to truly go into the dark places of my subconscious mind, things that I thought were healed, right? And I was able to really communicate to the individual the starting point of where it came from, the root of it. That's the hard part, is being able to communicate and really resolve that. Not just talk about it to the individual, but the individual take ownership and say, oh my God, I apologize. That's not, and to release the energy of that. That's what I'm talking about. Because we can go in our subconscious mind and rectify it for ourselves. But when we were able to resolve it with the individual, completely resolve it, right, we start to heal. And once we're in that healing, it doesn't mean it won't resurface. It just means that we're able to recognize it and remember that we had a healing around it with the person. So we don't have to relive it. We don't have to make them wrong for it. we can then say, okay, they recognized it and it's been forgiven. And that sort of, it's almost like a spell's been broken. It's like the spell has been broken because the person doesn't even realize that maybe they were sort of using this. Like they subconsciously had no idea, but you had a chance to rectify that. It's beautiful. So those are the points I want you to get to be able to go back and resolve. We're at a time where we can do that. I mean, unless the individual actually has passed on, right? That would be a different sort of ceremony to rectify that internal subconscious hurt and pain. But if you have the ability to communicate with that person and they have the knowledge and wisdom, right, which I feel comes from God, to listen, hear, and to ask for forgiveness, and you ask them for forgiveness, boom, right? So there you have it. Okay, so I have a great Friday. It's a Friday. Have a funky, freaky, phenomenal, fabulous, funky. Yes, Quadi, love you. Thank you for showing up. And if you ever, ever, ever want to come on here, please email me. I would love to have you just talk back and forth, kind of your ideas, your perspectives. I know you have this way of looking at the world, and maybe you can get that out. But let me know, spiritandbrew@gmail.com, if you want to set that up. Okay, I would love, love, love to have you. Okay, so there you have it. Have a fun, phenomenal, freaky, funky Friday, and I will see you guys on Monday. I'm going to call the internet today, the internet provider. I have my assistant who is 7 minutes late to her job. Go and call them. Okay, I love you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.